been avoiding this day for so many years. I've dreaded it, but I've also wanted it to happen more than anything. God, it's been so long. 2 decades almost. It's my daughter. I haven't been a mother to her for her entire life. Social services took her away from me when she was just a baby. I wanted to kill them when they did it. That's because of who I was back then. But I understand now. A child should never have to be raised around addictions like mine. I would have hated to see her become just like me. As it is, I know for a fact she's a better person than I am, because over the years, she's tried reaching out to me multiple times, while I've been running away. I don't know how she found me, but I guess she's very smart. I don't know a single thing about her except for the fact that she looks like me. I had all the chances to reconnect, but I never took them. I always dodged her calls and left her messages unopened. I just never felt ready. I was too preoccupied with the bottle or with something even worse. But even then, I was never allowed to forget about her. Somehow she became something of a celebrity. I bet it's a wonderful story. I see her face plastered everywhere. On TV, on billboards, even on trash littered in the gutters. It's like she made herself a star just so I couldn't ignore her, so I'd have nowhere to run. Her name is Wendy. I can't imagine how much she was bullied in school over looking so similar to the Wendy's girl, but I'm proud of her for being strong and making something out of it, instead of running and hiding from the truth like I always do. Something had to change. I can feel my body not doing well these days. I don't think I have much life left in me. I'm running out of time. No matter how much shame I feel, I have to go see her. I have to. It wasn't hard to find her. She sent me a lot of texts and emails trying to reach out to me. She moves around a lot, but she's always told me where she works. All I had to do was scroll up and find the latest address sent to me. It felt pretty awkward to show up to her work without warning, but she's always invited me to do it, and I think speaking to her in person is the right thing to do. I tried to get as sober as possible, then head out to go see her. She works at one of the Wendy's in the same town I live in, just on the other side. There's really no good side of town around here though, so I wasn't too surprised to see that the restaurant was pretty run down on the outside. However, what I saw inside, that shocked me. It looked downright haunted. I think the lights were on, but it was still darker than it should have been. All except for one bright spotlight on the counter, shining right on top of my Wendy at the register. It's hard to describe the shock I felt when I saw her, and all the pictures I'd seen. She was beautiful, glowing, full of life, but in person she was much different. Her expression was gone and empty, like her soul had been drained. I hate to say it, but she looked demonic. However, I chalked that up to her father's genetics and put my apprehensions aside. It was too late to walk away. I was terrified walking up there though. I could barely speak.
Hi, welcome to Wendy's. How may I take your order?
I almost cried right then and there. This was the first time I'd ever heard my daughter's voice. What was I even supposed to say?
Hi, I'm I'm sorry, could I just get a Baconator? Sure, the meal or just the sandwich? Just that. Will that be all? Actually, do you know if you have a mom? What do you mean, exactly? I'm so sorry. I'm your mom.
Mom, is that you? Mommy? I've been waiting for you for so long.
Are you okay?
Mommy!
Mommy! This wasn't going the way I thought it would. I knew she might get upset, maybe even go into shock, but not this. I had no idea what was going on with her, but it was scaring me way more than before. Not knowing what else to do, I fell back on my instincts and headed for the door. I tried to go through, but it was locked. When I looked back, Wendy wasn't Wendy anymore. She was some kind of monster. She climbed over the counter with these spindly legs and made her way toward me.
Mommy!
I wanted to run, but it was like my feet were glued to the ground. I was petrified. When she got me, she grabbed my face and started screaming at me. Mommy! I accepted my fate as she lifted me into the air. She then unhinged her jaw and placed me inside. I couldn't even bring myself to fight back against whatever it was, whether it was truly my daughter or one of hell's ghouls devouring me. The whole time I just kept thinking, this is what I deserve. I deserve this. This is what I deserve for being a terrible mother.
It was so good to finally meet you, Mom. I'm so glad we could finally reconnect after all these years. But the great thing is, from now on, you'll always be with me, forever and ever.
There's a Wendy's conspiracy that's been floating around the internet regarding the infamous Wendy's logo with the word mom spelled out on the collar. This was our take on the conspiracy itself. Maybe you now understand the significance of the word mom on the collar now.
Attention all Walmart shoppers. Please subscribe to Horror Shorts Party. Thank you for shopping and have a wonderful day.
Hi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm alright. These egg prices are killing me though.
Yeah, you and me both.
Stupid little thought. Hurry the hell up with your BBL plastic body so I can leave this crusty old place. Sheesh. I'm gonna shop at Costco next time.
Did you find everything okay?
Yeah, but oh, I almost forgot. I had this coupon for half off of the garbage bags.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Can't you just hurry it up? You've already bought out the whole store, now you're going to waste everyone's time with your stupid coupons? If you're broke, don't come here, lady!
Of course, I'll just scan that in. And that brings your new total to $34.54.
Alright. I think I can actually pay for that with cash.
No problem.
Really? Just pay with your card and move on, Miss Plastic Dump Truck!
Just don't say anything, don't even look back at her. She's not your problem. Your change is $5.46. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice... Oh, come on.
Damn it, she was kinda cute. I hope she comes back.
Hello? Anyone in there?
Oh, sorry about the wait, ma'am.
Yeah, you are sorry. A sorry excuse for a cashier. Don't make me sit here forever.
Wow, she's uglier than I thought. Smelly, too. How does a person let themselves go that far?
What are you looking at?
Oh, nothing.
Don't play stupid with me, Mr. Playboy. Why don't you keep your eyes on my groceries and not on my supple beanbags, all right?
Yes, of course, ma'am.
Hey, slow it down! You're not getting paid to mishandle my groceries and charge me twice for an item. I want to speak to your manager if you screw up again. Got it?
Ma'am, please let go of my hand.
You know what, Aaron? You better be glad I don't have you by the balls for the way you've been treating me.
I'm sorry my service has not met your expectations, but please, just let go of me.
Why should I? Why don't I just ignore you like you ignored me earlier, huh? I'm sure you wouldn't like to be disrespected like that.
Ow, stop it! You're gonna break my wrist!
Don't you dare raise your voice at me!
Jesus Christ, let me go!
Don't touch me!
Leave me alone or I'm calling the cops! Help! Someone help me!
I will be respected, and no one is going to get in my way!
But that's impossible because you're in everyone else's way, lady!
What did you just say?
Get away from him, ma'am.
Get away from me, pig! Don't touch me!
What in the world is going on? Get on your knees! Get on the ground and put your hands behind your back!
Shut up! You're all gonna learn to respect me when I come into this place!
This is your last warning! Get down on your knees and put your hands behind your back, lady!
I will not get on my knees for you! You're not my husband!
Get down on the ground now!
I demand to be treated with...
Oh my god, are you okay?
Oh, it's you. Yeah, I'm alright. I know this is a bad time to ask, but do you want to go out sometime?
Sorry, I have a boyfriend.
No! This story was inspired by a case that happened in a Dallas, Texas Walmart. An unidentified woman was allegedly acting like a Karen and causing a ruckus. When police arrived, the woman demanded a cop to respect her as she stood inside the store. things turned left really quickly, resulting in the woman being tased and subdued by police. She was then apprehended and taken into custody.
My friend James and I used to hang out at the community center in our neighborhood during the summertime. There wasn't much else to do there except swim in the pool, but when it got really hot outside, that's pretty much all we wanted to do anyway. The only thing that sucked about it was that it closed at 5 p.m., which felt way too early. The sun didn't go down for another 2 hours. James and I would stay every day until the lifeguards kicked us out and locked up the gate. But no matter how much we tried to convince them the rule was dumb, they were never lenient about it. Eventually, we got sick and tired of it and decided to do things our way. The gate into the pool was short enough to easily hop over, and the rest of the fence surrounding it had a privacy screen. So as long as there was nobody working there at night or watching the security cameras like a hawk, we figured out that we could basically have the whole place to ourselves if we wanted to. All we had to do was sneak in. James and I talked about it for a few days but chickened out the first few nights. But one night, we decided to eventually take the risk and do it. We waited until about 11 p.m. to sneak out and meet up in my backyard. James and I then walked over to the community center without seeing anybody. The coast was pretty much clear when we got there. I then gave James a boost as he hopped over the gate first. Then it was me. I was a little antsy being this mischievous, but I knew the fence protected us from being seen by anybody. Besides, it was so dark that we even doubted the cameras could see us at all. James and I took off our shirts, shoes, and socks, and then jumped into the pool. We started swimming while being quiet, of course, and normally the lifeguards would get nasty if they caught anyone jumping in while trying to do tricks. But now that wasn't a problem anymore. James went first, while I stood outside of the pool to judge. That's when he got a running head start and jumped into the air whispering, "Cannonball!" James was submerged for a few seconds, sinking to the bottom as one should when doing a cannonball. But then, as he began surfacing out of the water, he immediately started screaming at the top of his lungs saying, "Help! Get me out of here! Help!" He then swam to the edge in a panic and scrambled out of the water. But even when he got out, he still wasn't in control of himself. I rushed over and tried to figure out what was going on.
Dude, calm down. You're being too loud. You're gonna get us caught.
But James couldn't even put words together. He was more freaked out than I've ever seen anybody freaked out. He was hyperventilating while crying. I tried prying the answer out of him as to what the hell was going on, but it wasn't working. Finally, James looked back to the pool with utter terror on his face and pointed into the deep end, saying,
"There's something in there!"
James' scream was bone-chilling. I looked over and tried to see what exactly he was pointing at, but the water was too murky from being swam in by a bunch of sweaty people all summer, and with how dark it was that night, we couldn't see a thing.
What do you mean? What's down there? No, I don't want to. It's... Stop being such a wimp. Just gotta go down there and see what it is. No! Please, don't. Shh, be quiet. It'll just take a second, you big baby.
I was ragging on James a little bit, but I was actually genuinely scared of what I might see down there. It had to be something serious to rattle James to the bone like that. A big part of me was hoping that he was faking it and trying to pull a joke on me. I dove in and plunged to the bottom. Slowly, the murkiness gave way and a strange shape did start to come into focus at the bottom of the deep end. I got in closer for a better look, and getting that close to something I will regret for the rest of my life. That's when I realized what it was at that moment. It was a woman! I began swimming away as I could feel the decomposing, demonic-looking woman latch onto my arm. All I could remember was swallowing mouthfuls of water as that thing started dragging me down. I screamed out all of the air in my lungs and managed to break free from its grasp. I then rushed back to the surface to get out of the pool as soon as possible. When I finally got out, James and I started to hear voices nearby that sounded like neighborhood Karens coming to chase us off and snitch to our parents. We both hopped the gate back into the neighborhood and then ran home to my backyard without saying a single word. when we were safe, or so we thought. We finally talked about what we saw. The only logical explanation was that it had to be a rotting corpse, but the way it moved made me think it was something else. James and I started to talk our way into convincing ourselves that it was just some prankster in a costume pranking us. We were both shaken to our cores and vowed to never go near that pool again, thinking we'd seen a demon that was haunting us that night. We kept it a secret for another week, until we heard from the local news that a dead body had floated up to the surface of that swimming pool. According to what we heard, it was alleged that the person was a woman who had drowned there a week prior before the night we broke in. All this time, while the community pool was open to the public, there was not a single person that had any idea what was lurking just a few feet below them, festering, decaying, and morphing into something that barely looked human. This story was inspired by a true event that happened at a public swimming pool in Fall River, Massachusetts. A male was swimming in the pool when he discovered something floating by the deep end. He immediately alerted the lifeguard, in which they then discovered a female. What makes this even more disturbing was how the public swam in the pool for 2 days straight, without even noticing the woman, as she was not visible due to the water being too murky.
Sure is a slow night around here. Almost completely deserted. I bet there's nobody else but these two guys, and all I've got is this pack of gum. Maybe I should get something else. It would be less awkward. Plus, I could go for some cinnamon rolls. I don't know. I do know one thing, though. That cashier's got a weird vibe about him. His smile looks so forced.
Thank you for shopping at Walmart. Have a good rest of your evening.
Ah, crap. It's my turn.
Hello, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, you know, hanging in there. How are you?
Are you sure that's all you want to get?
Well, all right, maybe. Just hold on a second, I'll be right back. Dang it, why did he have to say that? Now I feel bad. I shouldn't, though. I'm allowed to get what I want, and what I want is a nice big canister of ready-to-bake cinnamon rolls to treat myself. You just can't beat the perfect consistency of that stuff that comes out of the can. Oh, yeah. And there it is, the Holy Grail. Oh, scrumptious rolls, just like my ex Big Beth. I guess this'll have to do. Wait a second. Oh, hold on. Do I really want to do this? It's a lot for one guy, isn't it? Oh, why can't I just do it already? Why is it so hard to just follow through with my choices? There. Oh, no putting it back now. Now I know how my ex feels. I'm walking away. Just walking away. What are you doing there, man? You almost scared the rolls. I mean crap out of me.
Oh, I'm just wondering if you needed any assistance. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
Really? Are you sure you don't want those cinnamon rolls? I saw you looking at them real hard.
You saw me? I can... Wait a second. Why were you watching me, you creep?
It's just customer service. I want to make sure your shopping experience goes smoothly.
Well, I don't need any of your help, thanks. I haven't found what I'm looking for yet, so just leave me alone, okay? Holy crap, what a freak. He could have just left me alone, but no, he had to follow me.
Sir? Excuse me, sir. I can help you find whatever you're looking for.
Just leave me alone!
Oh, come on. Don't you want a couple of these? They're really big, you know. A great bang for your buck.
I already told you I don't want your help. Now stop following me.
You really can't run any faster? You look like a pretty fit guy.
Crap. I gotta lose this guy and get the hell out of here. He's so persistent. What the hell is his problem with me? I just gotta duck around a couple corners and break his line of sight. Oh, come on, he's right there.
Looking for a new gadget? I can help with that. Listen, little guy, I really just want to...
I need you to come back to the front cash register immediately. Please and thank you.
Damn it. All right, I'm coming back.
Come on, you idiot.
Yes. Saved by the bell. That schmuck forgot he's still at work and can't just follow me around the whole time. You've got customers to ring up, you jerk.
Now, time to shop around like a normal customer for a little longer and gradually make my way toward the exit.
Oh God, this whole situation has really stressed me out though. That's not good. It's fine. It's fine. I just twisted my ankle by running like that. Nobody's even around to notice. There's the front door. I'm almost there. No sign of that creep either. Wait, what's going on? Why won't the doors open? No. What is this? This isn't fair. I'm at the door. Hello? Is anybody there? They're trying to trap me in here. Please don't touch the glass, sir. We wouldn't want you to get hurt now, would we? Back off right now. I don't know what you want with me, but you're not gonna get it. Oh, sir, you know what I want, and I am going to get it. It'll even be my pleasure. Get away from me! Now you've really pissed me off. Where did that freak go? He just disappeared. I just need to be very quiet and calm down. Sooner or later, he'll think I got out somehow. Sooner or later, he'll have to go home. But where is he? Let me just have a little peek. He's not out there. Not over in that direction either. Not over here. Not even out there. What's going on? Where could he have gone? I found you! What happened? Did I just see that? Oh no, I think the impact might have popped the cinnamon rolls. Hey, genius! Next time, just buy the rolls, and don't ever shove it up your hole! I'm gonna be all over the news.
This story was inspired by a true story regarding a 41-year-old man named Martin. He was arrested after shoplifting, which had gone horribly wrong in Las Vegas. The man thought it was a good idea to steal multiple items, including cinnamon rolls, which he had to hide up where the sun don't shine. To make matters worse, the cinnamon rolls ended up exploding inside him, thus causing a scene and ultimately his arrest. I used to work full-time at a Wendy's since being a high school dropout. With my years of experience, I already knew everything there is to know about when it comes to running this fast food joint. I've done it all, from working at the drive-thru to serving the customers as a cashier to even making sure the establishment was always clean as a janitor. Even though I was grateful to have this job, I still hated my life because I had no choice but to work, even in the worst conditions. Since the boss was very demanding, I was usually the cashier who had to take the customers' orders, and it gave me such a migraine, especially at lunchtime when customers came in and out of the restaurant non-stop. On one shift, there was someone more demanding than my boss, a customer who was incredibly nitpicky about every ingredient in his freaking burger and fries. He had the nerve to stand up and embarrass me in front of my colleagues and the other customers, who would murmur and giggle as they glanced at me, entertained by my humiliation. If I had to describe him, he reminded me of a character in a famous cartoon who relentlessly harassed SpongeBob about pickles. That's how annoying this customer was to me. One night, I saw on television that we had to prepare for an upcoming thunderstorm, so I expected my boss to be a little bit more considerate this time. But despite my constant pleas to take a leave and stay home, he insisted that I go to work unless I wanted to get fired. I know you've allowed the other staff to stay home, so why am I the exception? I said.
"'Cause this is your punishment for getting us in trouble with that customer the other day, so stop complaining!"
He replied. But there's a storm out there and it's on its way here.
So what? There have been many storms in the past. Stop being such a wuss and grab an umbrella, wear a bathing suit, take an Uber, goddammit!
I did everything I could to protest my case, but since I had to keep this job, I had no choice but to comply again. So, reluctantly, I started the car and headed off. Then, as I drove down the street, I looked out the window, wary of the dark clouds forming in the sky.
Damn it, I knew I should have stayed home.
Eventually, I made it to Wendy's. However, now the rain was pouring more violently outside, and if this continued, I couldn't go home at all. Then, moments later, loud thunderstorms appeared like jump scares that would cause the lights to flicker every now and then. I was supposed to be working with one other colleague. However, he never came. I assumed that he trusted his instincts and decided to call in despite what the boss told him. I slammed my fists on the table, regretting my decision again. Then, suddenly, the doorbell jingled. And at first, I thought it was just the wind. However, a customer surprisingly entered the restaurant. When I took a closer look at him, it was the same creepy customer who humiliated me the other day. I stared him down with a disdained look on my face as he was the primary reason I was given this punishment in the first place. As I was taking the man's order, I saw something from a distance in the sky. First, the clouds were foggy, and debris fell toward the ground outside. Then, as the winds became stronger, falling debris came closer. But when I looked harder, my eyes widened upon realizing that it wasn't just any ordinary wind bringing all the debris closer to Wendy's. It was actually a tornado. The customer and I saw this monstrosity approaching us, causing us to panic.
Crap, we gotta get the hell out of here! Give me my Baconator before I call your boss and tell him to demote you to Taco Bell!
I told the man that we had to hide in the basement where it would be safe, but he shook his head and continuously demanded that I serve him his order. As I kept prodding and urging the man to listen to me, he just stood his ground, justifying that it was hard enough for him to arrive at Wendy's. I was in utter disbelief that the man valued getting a Baconator than his own life. As I looked out the window, I could see that the tornado was approaching at a vigorous and rapid pace. That's when the man went ballistic, grabbing me by the collar as he relentlessly demanded the Baconator. So, forgetting about the basement, I pushed the man off me and ran toward the front door, immediately entering my car and locking it minutes before the man could grab me and pull me out. However, to my surprise, the strange man remained inside the restaurant, and I could see him entering the kitchen where I could only assume he was desperately trying to make himself a Baconator. Then, as I drove off a few feet from the Wendy's, my car was suddenly lifted from the ground. I was so scared to the point that I was hyperventilating. I was then sucked into a spiraling vortex of debris and began spinning around. I was legit in a freaking tornado.
Ah! Someone help me! Get me out of here! Help!
I then pushed the pedal as hard as I could, miraculously making it back down and getting away from further danger. Moments later, while glancing at the side mirrors, I saw how the tornado destroyed Wendy's. And once the tornado was gone, police investigators found one body amidst the rubble, leading me to believe it was none other than that stubborn customer. Of course, my colleagues and I lost our jobs after the incident, as there was nothing left at the Wendy's. But the most important thing was that I had a chance to live and tell the tale. This story was inspired by an incident that happened at a Daleville Wendy's after a tornado ripped through the city on October 25th of 2001. Below is a viral image of the aftermath of the Wendy's. It was alleged that over a dozen individuals wound up missing during the storm. One can only think the Baconator Bandit was one of them. This is something I need to talk about, and I know it's probably gonna sound just like an urban myth or legend, but I experienced it myself, and I know it's real. It happened decades ago, when I was a much younger woman in my 20s. My friend was invited to this house party at a mansion, and she asked me to be her +1, so of course I said yes immediately. She also said that there would be a swimming pool and that I should wear a bikini underneath my clothes. Finally, she mentioned that I had to keep the whole party a secret and not tell anyone about it because there would be a special guest in attendance. I asked her who, but all she said was the whale. I've never heard of any famous whales, so I prodded her to tell me more, but no matter what I said, she refused to divulge anything else. She told me I had to wait until the night of the party to find out. The suspense was annoying, but it turned out to be deserved. When we showed up to the mansion and got into the party, there was a sea of interesting-looking people, but my friend didn't want to talk to any of them. She dragged me by the hand through the crowd until we got to the backyard, and that's when I finally saw him, or it, the whale. He was none other than the biggest person I'd ever seen in my life. It was no wonder he held that title. He almost took over the whole pool with all of his fat, and nobody else was in it. There was even a picket sign at the edge that said, "Do not enter pool." The movie Blade had come out more recently at that time, and I couldn't stop thinking that the whale looked just like the ridiculously fat guy named Pearl from it, except 100 times bigger. Maybe it was the water that made him look fatter than he was, but he was ginormous to begin with. There definitely wasn't enough room for anyone else to actually be in the pool comfortably, but my friend was super annoyed that nobody but the whale was even allowed in it. I was surprised that she wanted to be in the water with him, but as I came to find out, she was kind of obsessed. A bunch of people were in the backyard mingling and drinking amongst themselves, but everyone was doing so while constantly staring at the literal elephant in the room out of the corner of their eye. He was like a circus attraction where his whole deal was just that he was a whopping 1,000 pounds of man meat. I remember being in disbelief for a little while, thinking that it was some kind of blow-up prop dummy for a party gag. But after I stared at him for a while, he took notice of me, and his eyes met mine. I knew then that he was a real person, but the level of astonishment was still unreal. That, and I felt gross just from making eye contact. So when my friend suggested we ignore the sign and get in the pool with him, it was a hard pass from me.
Don't you want to just jump in there with him? Ew, hell no, absolutely not. Well, what's the point of going to a pool party if you're not going to be in it? Haven't you ever been to the zoo? The sign says, "Do not enter pool." Shh, lower your voice. He might hear us. Oh, screw this. I'm grabbing a drink.
I was able to get my friends to forget about the whale temporarily, or at least until we came back to the pool area with our drinks. She consistently pestered me about being a square for not getting in the pool, so I kept giving her every reason not to. Unfortunately, my friend didn't care about a single thing I said. She got it into her brain that she just had to do it. I had her on a leash for an hour or two, but after a couple more drinks, she got this glazed look in her eyes, and I knew she was about to lose control of herself. Eventually, she gave up on trying to get me to do it with her and decided to do it herself. I warned her not to, but when she started taking off all her clothes and stripped down to her bikini, the entire backyard knew what was about to happen. Nobody tried to stop her, and at that point, I was sick of mommying her, so I didn't try either. She walked up to the edge of the pool and started taunting the whale. He stared at her, but he didn't say anything. He didn't seem upset by the threat of somebody crossing the boundary at all, so my friend went further by dipping her toe in the water.
Ooh, I'm in the water. What are you gonna do, Do you want me to get in? I bet you want me to get in, don't you?
As the whole crowd of people gathered around to watch the show unfold, she sat down and put her feet in the water. She even splashed around a bit to try and mess with the whale.
You can't just expect people to let you hog the whole pool just because you're fat. It's not fair. This is what happens when you don't share. Understand, big boy?
With those words, she slid off the edge and stood all the way in the pool with her lower body fully submerged. By then, she was aware that she had an audience, so she looked back at me with a smug expression and winked. The moment she looked away from the whale, that's when a brown essence started emanating from him in the water. The cloud quickly traveled across the pool as everyone else just stood there in awe.
Oh my god, get out of the pool! He's crapping in it, look!
For a moment, she didn't believe me, not realizing that I was dead serious, till it was too late. In a matter of seconds, the brown cloud had almost made its way to her. That would have been bad enough. She never would have lived it down, but that's not where it ended. In an instant of shock, she didn't get out of the pool fast enough, because as soon as the cloud touched her, the whale became something else, a monster. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw him moving for the first time all night, lunging at my friend and devouring her.
used to work at Walmart a few years ago, taking the night shift after closing the store. As a merchandise store associate, I worked overnight to unload shipping items from the truck trailer, and since it was more physical than cognitive, it wasn't as demanding as working at the cash register. All I had to do was get used to it, and once it became a routine, I could subconsciously complete my tasks. The pay was much more, of course, since I had to work during the graveyard hours, but this job came at a price. No, I didn't get into an accident, or robbed, or anything of that nature. It's just that I often heard weird noises across the establishment, especially in the attic. I'd always come across stories about paranormal activities occurring in the attic, for reasons I couldn't understand. It seemed to be a popular dwelling place for ominous entities. I had never been assigned the attic. In fact, no one really goes there anyway, so I imagined it was simply a storage room for a lot of stuff we no longer used. But occasionally, I was caught off guard by creaks, scratching noises, and sounds that gave me the impression that something was being dragged across the floor. However, before getting any crazy ideas, I repeatedly told myself that the building was either old or that raccoons were getting in somehow. The bad news is that since I started working here, my boss constantly ranted about losing inventory in the food section, including clothes and appliances, which I had checked multiple times during my shift, only to find out later that some of them had gone missing. A series of similar events had been occurring quite frequently at the store, and without a logical explanation, it eventually became a mystery to me, since I didn't steal anything and was sure I punched the numbers in correctly. I almost lost my job because of what was happening, but every time I was accused at work, I told my boss that I was only doing my job with no idea what the hell was going on. Then, one night, I heard the same weird noises again around the store while doing the usual routine. But instead of ignoring them this time, I decided to investigate. As I roamed around the store, I looked up and down each aisle, at the electronics section, the toy section, and finally around the food aisles. But I couldn't find anything. That is, until I reached the frozen food aisles and saw one of the most disturbing things that made my heart stop. It was two individuals crouching next to the freezer stuffing their faces. One of them appeared to be an old lady, and her companion appeared to be an old man. They didn't care to stop eating, despite being caught red-handed. I was in utter shock, coming to the realization that I wasn't alone, and potentially in danger.
Do you guys need any help?
I asked them.
No, can you just show us where the chips are?
The man said. I then pointed towards the chips aisle and nervously said,
It should be over there.
I cautiously stepped backward as the couple proceeded to continue eating while looking at me with the most crazed stare. When I finally backed up enough to the point that I was out of view, I made a run for it, dashing across the store until I locked myself inside one of the office rooms. Hidden underneath the table, I took out my phone and immediately called the cops. I stuttered as my mind went blank. It didn't seem like the pair had followed me. The operator remained on the other end of the line as she dispatched a few units to the Walmart I was in. As I sat there, desperately waiting for the cops to arrive, I could feel my heart pumping out of my chest. Every minute of just sitting and waiting felt like an eternity as sweat began trickling from my forehead. I could hear noises from outside, but could not identify what they were. Despite my fears, I remained still, preventing myself from panicking. And moments later, I could hear someone turning the knob violently, like whoever was on the other side wanted to come in. I thought of calling out to the person to ask who they were, but hesitated since it could only get me in more trouble. Convinced I was going to have to fight for my life, I grabbed a pair of scissors, holding it up like a knife. It was evident that the person behind the door was getting more desperate. They started banging on the doors as if they were trying to break it down. Just then, the door busted open. I then screamed hysterically, but then I realized that it was just law enforcement. I quickly disclosed what happened and told them where I last saw the suspects. The police didn't allow me to leave the room for standard safety protocol measures, since the suspects were still at large. A few minutes later, I was informed that the pair were immediately apprehended. After further investigation, it was discovered that the pair were a homeless couple, living in the Walmart attic the entire time. When the authorities investigated the attic, they found expired food items and missing inventory scattered scattered throughout the floor. But what baffled me the most was how it was alleged the couple had been living there for over 2 years. All this time, knowing that I wasn't alone while working the night shift just creeps me the hell out. All I know is that the man, or woman, were highly capable of strangling me and could have easily done so. And because of that, I never felt safe working at Walmart ever again. On December the 1st of 2015, 2 homeless people had been found living in the attic of a Walmart in Tennessee for over 2 years. The mugshots of the culprits are shown here below. The couple has since been charged and arrested for their crimes.
I don't remember how I got here. I don't know who's to blame. The memories are gone. The good times are gone. All that's left is agony.
Ah! Make it stop! Make it stop!
It hurts everywhere! What kind of place is this?
Where the hell are we? Somebody help us!
It was my whole pig family together in this awful cave of fire, trapped with no room to move, no air to breathe, and no hope of escape. Just the fire of our scorching skin and the company of each other screaming. At least it's not getting hotter. No, wait, it is. I was taken out of the oven onto a platter alongside the rest of my family. That's when I realized we had pork chop bodies. We then got placed on a circular table surrounded by a family of humans, all dementedly excited to eat us. As I regained consciousness, I was struggling to understand what was going on.
Where am I? What's going on? Who are these people? What are we all doing here? Oh no, they're looking at us like pieces of meat. Wait, it can't be. We are pieces of meat. That's what they did to us with the fire, isn't it? But why? For what? I don't know. I guess I just have to accept this new body of mine. This shriveled up, charred and broken mess. But the looks on their faces makes me think, for some reason, I won't have to deal with it for long. I just hope nothing hurts as bad as the fire.
I remember seeing the human father slam the hilt of a knife on the table, eyeing me psychotically as he said, "I wonder what I should call you. Pork, ham, bacon. You look so delicious. I just can't wait to
Oh my god, this is really bad! I have to do something, but I can't move! Mommy, Daddy, George, are you still with me? No, get away from me, you psychos! You're sick! All of you! Mommy, Daddy, George, wake up, please! I'm begging you!
What's going on? Peppa, is that your voice I hear?
Yes, Daddy, yes, it's me!
Oh, Peppa, what's happened to us? Did we make it through hell and get to heaven yet?
Not yet, Daddy, they're not done with us.
Who?
Them!
Oh no, dear God, not this!
What, Daddy, what are you going to do?
I was always worried this might happen, but I never thought any creature could be vile enough to do it.
What is it? Tell me!
They're going to eat us, Peppa! They're going to devour us right here and now! And look at their faces! They're going to take such rotten pleasure in it!
Don't cry, Peppa! Oh no, tell me it isn't so!
It is so. We don't have much time. Both of you, help me wake up George. I wouldn't want him to see what's about to happen, but this is our last chance to be together as a family.
Yes, Daddy, we are family.
Alrighty, guys. Are we sure we all washed our hands before we sat down at the table? It looks like some of us might have forgotten, but I won't say who. How about we all get up and go wash our hands just to be sure? We wouldn't want anyone to get sick now, would we? Quickly now, all of you, before they come back! Daddy, Mommy, Peppa, what's going on? What are we doing?
We're saying goodbye, George.
Goodbye? Like, forever goodbye?
Yes, dear, forever goodbye. For all of us.
What?
No, no, no! I don't want to go! I don't want to go! I don't want to go!
Oh, bless his soul. Peppa, my darling, is there anything you'd like to say?
I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mommy. And I love you too, George. Don't worry, alright? Everything's going to be okay. We're all together.
It's alright, guys. Let's just pretend this was all one big vacation and we went tanning. Or went to a sauna. That's why our skin looks like this. Just try to imagine when they dig into us that it's really just a rough massage, okay? Just know that I'm very proud of you. They started hacking at my family, devouring George first. He was like an appetizer for those dirty sickos. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't move my head at all. At least George didn't have to watch what happened next. I was forced to see those monsters chewing him up, mashing him to goop and cramming him down their gullets. They'd pick pieces of him out of their teeth and put them back in their mouths, then take another bite with this demonic look of pure joy. I thought I'd be next. After watching them eat George, I wanted to be next. But it wasn't over for me yet. They moved on to the main course. My mommy and daddy, my dear old parents, watch each other get dismembered and distributed across the table to a dozen hungry mouths. Leave me alone, I'm calling them! I couldn't imagine the pain they were going through in that moment, but they stayed strong until the end, until the life left their eyes. Now it was my turn, like I was dessert. I was hoping that after that fire, I wouldn't feel anything, but oh, I did. Each time they sliced me with that knife, I felt it cutting me to pieces without mercy, and I could almost feel the severed bits of me getting pulverized in the jaws and teeth of those maniacs. It was bit by bit, piece by piece, till they whittled me down smaller and smaller. And that was the end of Peppa Pig.
Every time I think about Wendy's, I want to throw up. I ate it all the time for years, and now it literally makes me sick to my stomach. There's a Wendy's on my way to and from work. I still see it every day and I do my best not to notice it. I used to go there once a week and get a family-sized tub of chili whenever I didn't feel like cooking. I always went late at night because around the time I got off work, it was usually only 1 or 2 people working at the time. For a while, I never noticed a difference in the taste of the chili at this Wendy's as opposed to any others that I'd been to. Fast food places are generally quite consistent. However, one night, when I got home after stopping by Wendy's and had some, the taste was noticeably off. One of the pieces of ground beef even had a weird texture to it. I would always add extra seasoning to mask the flavor, but I could still tell that it wasn't normal. A week or so later, it was time to refill on chili again. I was the only person in the drive-thru that night, so right after getting my order, I stayed there for a minute to try some before driving off. As fate would have it, that batch of chili still had that same weirdness to it. When the drive-thru worker noticed I was still there, they asked me if I needed any help, and I mentioned the odd taste of the chili in as nice of a way as possible. The cashier asked me what I wanted to do about it, and since I couldn't really think of anything else, I requested to talk to the person who had prepared it. That made me feel like the biggest Karen in the world, but I tried to have a good attitude about it since there still wasn't anybody in the line behind me. They rolled their eyes a bit, but they obliged and went back to the kitchen. A minute later, this other guy showed up. Right away, I could tell that he wasn't the guy I normally saw in the kitchen, so I figured he was new. He was really strange looking, and not exactly in an ugly way, but if I had to describe him, he had a scruffy beard and had eyes far apart like a beetle. The man really made me feel uncomfortable with the way he was staring gauntly at me.
So, what was your question, sir?
Hi, I was just wondering if you, or maybe the higher-ups, are doing anything different with the chili recipe recently.
What's wrong with it?
It just doesn't taste right. I eat this stuff all the time and started noticing a change.
If the recipe changed, I wouldn't know. It all comes pre-made.
Alright, sorry about that. Have a good night, sir.
After that interaction, I decided to just let it go. It wasn't like the chili tasted outright bad. It was just different. I contemplated on going to a different Wendy's but never actually did. The nearest Wendy's aside from that one was just too far out of the way and not convenient enough, especially as a routine thing. After a while, I got completely used to the new taste of chili, and I even stopped trying to spruce it up with extra ingredients. I really did love their chili, and I have for years before that. This went on for the next 2 years until I discovered something absolutely horrifying. One night, after picking up the chili and eating it after work, the taste went right back to the way it used to be. It tasted amazing in comparison to what I had become accustomed to. In fact, it was so incredible that I went back to Wendy's the very next night without intending to buy anything. I got a 4 for $4 just so I could justify talking to them. When I got up to the window, I asked the cashier what they were doing different with the chili this time. The Wendy's worker on duty gave me this really strange look. like they felt sorry for me for some reason. They said nothing different was being done with the chili, so I asked again if they had employed a different person for the night shift. That's when they said yes, and that they had a new person in the kitchen. I was curious as to what had happened to the other guy, but the employee refused to tell me. They said that if I didn't know already, that they weren't allowed to divulge the information while at work due to company policy. That put a weird feeling in my gut, but nothing like how I felt when I went home and found out for myself. One of the most recent headlines in the local news regarding Wendy's said that an employee had been caught defecating in the chili for 2 whole years. The picture of the culprit was the same man I had the conversation with all that time ago. All this time, knowing that I had been ingesting tainted chili made me convulse and sick to my stomach. I went to the bathroom and threw up everything I had in my stomach. But then every time I thought about eating that guy's crap, I would throw up even more. I ended up dry heaving at the toilet for the rest of the night and felt so utterly poisoned that I had to call out for work the next day. Of course, even though everything is back to normal now, I can't eat that chili ever again. I can't even go within 100 feet of a Wendy's anymore. All I can think about when I smell their food is how much of that guy's crap I must have unknowingly eaten over the course of 2 years. It's absolutely sickening. This story was inspired by a true story regarding a Wendy's employee at the Mobile, Alabama location. It was reported that a man named Brian is now under arrest after admitting to defecating in several hundred batches of chili since 2013. The catastrophe took place for over 2 years, shocking the local restaurant goers and, of course, the internet.
Where am I? What's that sound? It's pigs screaming and squealing. But why? I can't see straight. Everything is upside down. Wait, no, I'm upside down. I can't move my feet. I'm stuck here hanging with all these other pigs. No, this isn't what I think it is it? No, it has to be. We're in the slaughterhouse. This is it. This is the end. Oh, please don't tell me they're here too.
Mommy? Daddy? George? Are you there?
Yes, Peppa, we're here.
Where are you? We're right here. Look this way. Oh, there you are. Poor George is with us too. Mummy, why are we in this awful place? I don't know, Peppa, but there's nothing we can do.
Stop that! There's gotta be something we can do. We're a family. We can think of a way out of this.
That's right, Daddy. We can beat this as a family.
Now, anybody have any ideas?
I thought you had the ideas.
Don't oink at me, you smelly expired pork chop! Just shut up and help me think of something quick, or else we're all gonna be goners!
I don't like your attitude. Mummy, forget about it. Fight later. I've been saying I'll fight this fat lot of a swine later for years. If I'm about to perish, then I'm at least gonna get one good swing before I go.
Why, you wretched brood mother! Bring it on!
Mommy, Daddy, stop fighting. This isn't the time.
It's no use. They've been bottling us up for far too long. Now George and I have to watch our parents fight as the last thing we see before we... Wait a minute. That's it!
Stop it! I have an idea, you idiots! Look at your feet! When you two were swinging at each other, you were actually swinging. And look, you've moved! And what's a few inches? Now look over there. It's the end of the line. If we can swing our way over there, we can fall off this rail and run away.
Wait a minute. Peppa, you're a genius! Everybody, start swinging this way! It's working! Yes, it's actually working! We're moving! But there's so many people ahead of us in our way. We have to tell them to join us or we'll get stuck.
Hey, you! Mr. Pig, are you awake?
Huh? What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy waiting for death?
Yes, but you can avoid it. If you swing yourself over that way, we can all get off this line. See?
But why? There's nowhere to run if you get off. Just get a move on already, log face! Who are you calling a large, a big fat way? I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to push the rest of us to the front of the line so we get taken off first. Well, you can forget about it. I'm not moving. Why, you? Dang it, why is everyone acting like a bunch of morons? We're all gonna die if we don't work together, don't you get it? Hold on, did he just say we're at the front of the line? That means we're gonna get slaughtered right after that guy. Rats, that must be the butcher.
Let's see. I need one little piggy for some tenderloins.
This one here will do.
Let go of me and pick out some chickens! Somebody help me!
Oh no, we're next. We're next, and we have to watch what he's about to do to... Oh God. No! No! Boy, I sure do love my job. That's when all the pigs in the chill room went into a panic, pushing each other even harder to move the line, thus causing a chain reaction of pushing with all the other pigs and creating a frenzy. It's bad. The butcher's gonna come take us all out if we don't do this quietly. But I can't breathe. They're pushing up against each other. They're smothering me. I'm gonna pass out. And now time for 3 little big piggies for bacon.
No! George, my baby! Give him back to me, you monster!
What's this? It looks like that one freaking out over there has a problem with this. Well, how would you two like to get sacrificed together then?
No! No! Please don't!
Oh dear. Peppa, I'm sorry. I don't have much time now. I won't be with you after this. You'll be on your own.
No, Daddy, please don't leave me. I don't want to be alone.
Wow, what a commotion! Maybe it's best if we do the whole order all at once. Goodbye, Peppa. You were always my favorite. I can't watch. It's too horrible. Oh, Georgie, you didn't deserve this. None of us did. At least it'll all be over soon. I never thought Mommy's insides would look like that. I guess all that dieting was for something. He'll make a very lean pork chop, but not so good for bacon. Daddy, though, you really are a fat lard. You'll make tons of bacon. We pigs must taste delicious to have to go through all this. Maybe it's wrong of me to think, but I wish I could have tried it at least once. And that's when I spotted a small piece of one of the fallen's remains sitting on the ground below me. I was able to jerk a little, grabbing it with my mouth and then chewing on it. Wow, that's delicious. I should have started eating pig years ago. This is amazing. Oh no, it's my turn. In all my days, I've never seen a pig like you. Now let me take you off the line. Jeez, if only the poor thing knew she was probably eating a part of a family.
Whenever I'm reminded of lockdown, I think back to what happened to my girlfriend and I at the height of it. We were outgoing people, so we had to sacrifice a whole summer of fun just because everything was closed down. Our hopes for a beach day, or to just even hit up a local swimming pool for an afternoon, wore thinner as the weeks passed. Until we got desperate enough to try something new. We came across this app called Swimply, which allowed homeowners to rent out their pools by the hour. It didn't take long for us to find one that was really promising. The picture showed a huge backyard with a sizable pool. The only problem was the hour-long drive to get there. However, this didn't faze us as we had been stuck inside for quite a while. A lot of the homes along the way were hillbilly compounds, comprised of little more than double-wide trailers right up against the highway, and homemade junkyards surrounded by collapsing fences. It was giving us major Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes, but we held out hope that we would find a diamond in the rough. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. The GPS led us to what was thankfully an actual house, but it was a lot smaller than we expected. We were reluctant to get out and knock on the door, but we'd spent an hour getting there and didn't want to give up on it immediately. The man who opened the door was a shock as well. He was a textbook old creep, and he had that nasty type of old people smell, where it seemed like their pants were always dirty. What's worse is he wouldn't take his eyes off of my girl, even when he was supposedly talking directly to me. We probably should have had the sense to leave right then, but we wanted to at least see the pool first to know if it would be worth it. The old man led us around the outside of the house and showed us this giant grand pool of his in the backyard. But to our shock and disappointment, we saw that it was literally just an empty kiddie pool on a cement slab. We were stunned for a few seconds, not sure what we should say knowing we'd just been catfished over a swimming pool. But that's when the old creep started to coerce us.
What are you waiting for, huh? Get in there and have fun so I can get paid, alright? I waited on you guys for hours.
It's not quite what we expected.
Yeah, and? What about it?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, sir, but I think we're just gonna go home.
No, you're not!
And what makes you say that?
He then flashed a sinister smile and lifted his shirt, revealing a pistol tucked in his waistband. My heart immediately sank. My girlfriend and I exchanged a look, and I could see the distinct fear in her eyes that I felt deep in my core too. By then, we knew we really messed up and had no idea what this guy was capable of. So we began stripping down to our bathing suits since he left us with no choice. The grin that spread across his face when he saw my girlfriend in a bikini made me want to break every bone in his body. But I had no idea how quickly he could pull that gun. When we were undressed, we stepped into the pool and stood there awkwardly as there was no water in it. That's when our captor reached down and pulled a hose off of the ground and turned it on to fill up the pool while spraying us with water. As he took a seat at the stool that was uncomfortably close to us, he was almost drooling, clearly taking great pleasure in hosing us down. However, things were still about to get worse.
What are you doing just standing there? I want to watch you mess around like young folks do. You two aren't brother and sister or something, are you? It wouldn't matter to me anyway. Come on, do something. You know what I want to see. You look so much like my wife. I miss her a lot. You remind me of all the stuff we used to do.
Then, one of the most shocking, blood-curdling things happened to me. The man pulled the gun out of his waistband and pointed it straight at my face.
Wait a second, please, don't shoot. I'm begging you.
Stop it! Don't do it!
Shut up, tramp! There'll be time for making you scream later. Now, let me put this chump in his place.
I closed my eyes and prepared to die. The last thing I saw was him squeezing the trigger, but the next thing I felt changed the course of my life. It was just a spurt of water hitting my face. I was confused and everything went silent after that. I peeled my eyes open just for the old coot to pull the trigger again, shooting water straight into my eyes. I couldn't believe it. He had us duped with a water gun. Watching that creep laugh himself made me want to beat him into a pulp. I wound back to sock him right in the face with every intention of shattering every bone in it. But at that very last moment, my girlfriend jumped in the way and held me back. My girlfriend ended up talking some sense into me. We went home and tried to put the ordeal behind us. I reported the incident, but obviously there wasn't much that could be done since it was just a water gun. If I had actually crippled him, that would have been a hard case to argue in court. We never saw or heard from that guy again, but we were able to get him taken off the app, which hopefully saved a few people from going through what we did. I can only wonder how many people got tricked by those phony photos before us though. This story was inspired by a true story regarding a man who was caught catfishing customers on the Swimply app using Google-like swimming pool images, only for customers to arrive at his home and be scammed of his kiddie pool. The image below was submitted by the viewer, which was allegedly a snapshot of the same kiddie pool used to scam his customers. I haven't been sleeping well lately, and that's not a good thing. I've been without it for some time now, and it's finally taking its toll. I don't know where it's coming from, but I swear I can hear somebody crying at night. It's a horrible sound, and once I noticed it, it's become all I can hear. Even though little George can be a big crybaby sometimes, I know it isn't coming from him. I even snuck out of bed at night just to check on him more than once, and each time I found him sleeping completely soundly, while still being able to hear the crying coming from somewhere else in the house. This made me think I was going crazy, so for a long time I tried not to tell anyone about it. It's not a good thing to admit that you're hearing voices which have no source. If I wasn't insane before, I'm getting driven closer to it every single day, each night that I can't sleep. I look older. I feel sicker, and my thoughts become slower. All the while, my mental obsession with this issue is pushed more and more to the center of my attention at all times. I started to worry that all this drowsiness would make me miss something important, but as it turns out, maybe it was the altered state of my mind that allowed me to see pieces of the puzzle that were hidden in plain sight, and finally piece together the mystery. One night, I was playing with my little brother George and his toys in the living room when I started to totally space out. Without really thinking, I ended up staring at a particular family portrait. It's been up on that wall for about as long as I can remember, and even though it's a nice picture of the pig family, I never paid much attention to it. It's just the four of us in front of a house. Nothing special, except when I looked closer, I noticed something that had been there the whole time. In one of the windows of the house, I saw the tiniest little speck of pink. I knew what that had to be, but I couldn't believe it at first. I walked right up to the picture and confirmed my suspicion. There it was, another piglet in this picture, younger than me and George, but for some reason he wasn't allowed to be in it with us as part of the family. Now, all of a sudden, I had a million more questions. Why was he hiding in the house? And why have I never met him before? I didn't even know if it was a baby boy or girl. All these unanswered questions started driving me into insanity. I couldn't fathom it. It just wasn't right. Right away, I pulled George away from his toys and stuck his face in front of the picture. I never seriously suspected him of keeping secrets, but when I saw his reaction, I knew he wasn't. He was clearly just as shocked and confused as I was. I finally felt like I was closer to finding out where that crying was coming from at night. Of course, I pushed my doubts aside and took George into the kitchen to confront Mommy and Daddy.
Mommy, Daddy, can I talk to you about something?
Why, yes, of course. What's on your mind?
Do George and I have a lost sibling?
What? Why? No, definitely not.
Don't lie to me, Daddy. I'm not stupid.
I know you're not stupid. I just don't have the slightest clue where you could have gotten such a crazy idea like that.
I knew Daddy would keep avoiding the truth unless I showed him that coming clean was his only option. That's when I took the nice old family photo off the wall, frame and all from the living room, then took it back into the kitchen and slammed it on the table, shattering the glass into a million tiny pieces.
Peppa, what's the meaning of this?
Look here, you big-nosed, wide-nostril slime ball. Do you see it?
See what?
The little baby in the window! Right here! You see it, don't you? I know you see it!
Daddy fell silent as I saw the look on his face change. Mummy looked glum too. Finally, Daddy started to tell the truth.
In all honesty, Peppa, I never knew about that being in this picture. In all these years, I never noticed he was there.
He? So you know who it is, don't you? Don't you?
I might just go to your room, Peppa. You're grounded.
Who is it? Where are they? Tell me right now!
I'm sorry, Peppa, but if you must know, all you have to do to find out is look inside the mailbox in the front yard.
Really? That's it? Leave them be, George. Come with me.
At last, I had my answer. It had been hiding not even 100 feet away from me the whole time. Now, all I had to do was look inside and find out. Strangely, all that was in there were flyers for the grocery store.
Flyers? I don't understand. What does this mean? I don't... Oh, no. No. It can't be. It's all pork. George, it's all pork. They turned our poor little brother into chops and strips. No!
I'll never be able to look at my parents the same way after finding out what they did. One day, I think I will even plot vengeance against them. But for now, at least the spirit of my lost sibling can finally rest, which means I can too.